Bread and butter.
Bread and butter. Guns and butter, baby.
Rolling on y'all. This is what we do.
I like that fit.
Huh?
You do have a unique style.
Man, thank you, brother. I appreciate that.
It's like urban pop.
Urban pop?
Yeah.
It's like you listen to Justin Bieber.
Okay.
But the
you
remixes.
Yeah.
Okay. With
like Lil Baby.
Yeah. And maybe like a Big Sean on the track or something like that.
Yeah, definitely Big Sean.
Man, I experiment with all different looks.
Yeah, Big Sean, Chance Rapper.
Definitely trying to work on, the rest of my fashion. I can always take some fashion tip from you guys.
Mo going to the club after this. You don't take nothing from him.
Definitely.
I probably should wear this out.
Yeah. No, I think this looks good.
Smell like you did.
Bro.
Get like a hookah.
Really, for sure. Like, you look very functional. Like, I might be able to go
do
give you a
something
bucket
else.
or two.
You might be able to give a break
Get
dance.
a couple drinks.
Break dance energy.
Breakdancing is out of the Olympics, by the way.
Okay. Break dance is. We
out.
didn't talk about that, but we don't need to talk about that.
Because of one person.
Yeah, one person messed that up.
When somebody said breakdance got canceled, they said, y'all know who it's because of. I ain't even
what
gotta say
happened?
her name. You see a girl from Australia?
You
Oh
didn't
my
see
God.
it?
Horrible,
You didn't watch the break dance?
After this, just go look.
Oh,
Okay.
bro. No,
She
literally,
ruined it for
it was the
everybody.
first time, right, for
Yeah,
break
for
dancing.
breakdancing, yeah.
And
she
they was
ruined it
like,
for
no,
everybody.
let's scratch that.
Grand opening, grand closing.
Yeah.
Because of one
It
woman.
was over.
Like, I do a lot of animal flow. I won't even lie. I actually thought I could go for it. I was like, if there was something I could do in the Olympics, breakdancing I might have had a chance at. Right?
Here we go.
That's how bad
All right,
I
lock
felt.
in.
Welcome to the Untrained Podcast. I'm your host, Fields Offseason. I'm here with Curtis, Mo, and Chris. As you heard, we were talking about breakdancing and a little bit of our outfits. I didn't mean to laugh at that, but come on, bro. You know damn well it
They got
is.
the number one pick.
Now what I do is I kind of limit my count, or I find out what throw count is, what
Yeah.
the pitch count is from the skills coach.
Coaches, very important.
Bring them to the stall.
Okay, we can plug that in.
Find your village.
If you're a hooper and you're playing basketball, you're gonna have some type of
Yeah.
like if you're explosive or you fast, you're gonna deal with something.
It's natural.
Man. Like it's 99% gonna happen. Do you program ahead of time? Because I made the mistake. I used to think that my program was like a goal.
I'm not the fashionista,
You got it on, though.
but I tried to put that thing on. And,
What kind of shoes are those?
Oh, these are Skechers. In case you want, these are the slip-ons, by the way. I'm telling you, I'm a big fan of Skechers
Yeah,
right now.
yeah,
And the thing is like, watch, you just
Slip in,
slip
slip
it right.
out.
Hold up.
I get my granny some.
You know why I like these shoes? Let me be honest. Especially when you're at the airport and you got to go through TSA, you got to do all that, and it's like, I got to take my shoes
You ain't
off.
got
You don't take your shoes out, TSA?
Okay, I don't have TSA. I'm sorry.
Oh, appreciate.
You ain't got pre-check all every time you
Nah,
travel?
you know what I do? I use Clear.
He fly private.
Bro, there's
Even
no
on
way
Clear, you have to
don't
take your shoes off.
pre-check.
Oh yeah, that's crazy.
You better call your bluff on this, because I ain't had to take my shoes off or
No.
jacket. They even leave my laptop in my
You don't
bag.
have TSA pre-check.
No, I just got Clear.
Or global
What do you fly,
entry.
Frontier?
You don't have global entry?
No, I wanted to get global
You
entry.
don't have global entry?
Listen. I know I fly a lot, and I got to be better about that. But I just.
But
I
your
usually-
excuse is you fly private. Got it.
Got
You
it.
know.
Continue.
Next.
Facts. Alrighty, I don't fly private, guys. All right, so we are here today. We're going to talk about something that we're in off season right now. This
Yeah.
is our.
Bread and
This is
butter.
where we make the money.
Several sports. Football just went back, but we just finished football off season. NBA is in the off season.
So right now we're in the NBA off season. This is I usually call these like summer of separation. This
Yeah.
is where you put the work in. This is where you separate yourself. This is where you make your money as a coach. Throughout the season, I know it's really difficult training throughout the season, so we don't really have that much time to really put in the foundation work throughout the
Tell him
season.
that. Don't tell him that.
Yeah, we still train, but we're doing a
train
lot of
hard this
allocating
season.
of stress. It's a little bit different what we're doing throughout the season.
Access is different too.
Yeah, okay. There are some things, and what we're about to get into. So today we're going to talk about off season, depending on the duration. Maybe we can make this more interactive. It's like making it like a case study.
Okay.
How y'all feel about case studies? Or do you want to go over basically our framework?
A little bit of both.
A
Blend
little
in.
bit of both.
Okay, so we're going to do a little bit of both. We're going to do a case study, and we're also going to do a framework of what our offseason looks like. So I want to start it off, and we're all going to talk about our processes. I'm going to talk about mine. Curtis is going to talk about his. Mo's going to talk about his. Chris, maybe you might talk about it. I don't know. You look like you haven't had a nap, and it might go left real quick.
You release your
So
chops.
We just had NFL offseason, and I know you worked with Justin. Did you work with Justin for the entire offseason?
Entire offseason.
Entire offseason. Can we pick your brain? Because I think this will be very cool.
Don't send us an invoice.
Please don't send us an invoice.
Don't send us no invoice.
We got enough invoices to handle.
Nah, no thank you. I got y'all. Nah.
All right, Coach. First off, when did offseason begin?
Between the second and third week of February for Justin.
Okay.
He played on the Bears, so at that time. So it was.
They made the playoffs?
Nah.
I wouldn't even pay attention.
It was a little earlier.
Well, yeah, I ain't gonna ask their record.
You know the Bears
it's okay.
didn't make the playoffs, bro. I didn't mean to laugh at that, but come on, bro. You know damn well it
They
is.
got the number 1 pick.
Hey, bro, I only had. He did have the number 1 pick.
No, but honestly, like they lucked out with the number 1 pick because they was really like the 10th. They was really like to 10th.
And then they crashed?
No. Like they made that trade.
Oh, they did make
with
the trade?
Carolina.
Yeah.
So they were really like, their record was like the 10th.
Well, okay.
I only think I
All
got
right, man,
one
let Curtis
bear.
lock in.
Yeah, I only
Snap
got
back.
one bear.
Yeah.
My bad.
You back. All right, so
I'm gonna ask you more players.
offseason starts in February. What's the approach that we're going into when you're working with was this the first time you worked with him this season, or was this the second season?
No, this is my second off season, my second kind of full off season working with Justin.
Okay, so can we walk through like a framework of what that looks like, maybe week by week, we want to talk mesocycles, we want to talk, how we want to talk. How's the programming, how's the framework?
Yeah.
What are we looking like when we're working with his position
Yep.
and his needs?
Yep.
Can we just do the framework?
Sure.
Let's talk about the framework.
Sure. Okay. So the first 2 weeks are a kind of like GPP.
Okay.
Right. So we focus on that, and Oh, sorry. GPP stands for General Physical Preparedness.
Okay. Or you can just call it GP. Keep it GP. Yeah. General prep. Let's keep it there. I like to keep it simple.
First things first, like it starts with once Justin gets in the building or once Justin lets me know that he's ready to train and ready to go, we have just an honest conversation about kind of like a second exit meeting, right? Like in terms of like, what did you think went well, went wrong during the season? What are some things that off the rip you knew that you needed to work on? What are some things that you felt kind of hampered you towards the end of the season? And what do you expect during this period, this off-season period? What do we want to work on? What do we want to address? So basically make it like a dollar amount. Like, so if you only got $10 to spend, what's the majority of the $10 going to?
Okay.
And then we do an assessment. And then after we do our assessment, that's all the vault data, vault, counter movement jumps, squat jumps, single leg jumps, single leg depth drops, single leg landings, things of that nature, upper mid thigh pull, just to get a baseline for his strength and where he is after the season. Also, we kind of just use that as just a framework of where he is on the season and then where we can build from there and what we end up getting, I guess, like every 2 weeks after we retest. After the vol testing, we start with like an overall movement assessment just to kind of see where he's at. I spoke with his team PT that was on the Bears, and they basically told me about some things that he had to kind of battle and what he was recovering from, but he was fully cleared to go.
Okay.
So we looked at that with the movement screen, and then we kind of just basically, that GPP was basically that period of just getting to feel better, just getting to move better, just be a little bit more pliable, be a little bit more mobile.
So that's the general prep.
Yep.
The main focus of the general prep is?
So the main focus of the general prep is just create a floor, create a baseline of readiness. And that readiness can be mobility, that readiness is relative strength, that is kind of like pliability, and that is also kind of core strength or core endurance.
Okay.
So during that time, we're doing a lot of like floor-based animal kind of flow movements.
Yep.
Because he's a quarterback, and I work with rotational athletes from tennis to boxing to NFL quarterbacks. So I'm real big on like working on the fascial system.
Yeah.
And integrating that and working through fascial lines. And
I think pretty much we all really like the fascia, meridian line, all of it.
You can tell through our shit. Like it's kind of similar. Like
very
watching
important.
Somebody.
Very, very important. I didn't mean to cut you off,
No,
but
no.
I think it's very important. We're looking for some anatomical adaptation in this, and especially with the fascia and really opening up the body.
We try to focus on just overall just working on smaller things in terms of like grip strength, shoulder stability, overhead shoulder stability. We work on those things, and also just building kind of like a baseline of like core strength and core resiliency, because we want to prepare him to be able to get back into throwing again. So that's what we kind of work on. And then from there, we kind of build that from once GPP is done, we kind of work on like our strength. And then from our strength, we kind of essentially kind of work on power, special strength, things of that nature, speed.
What's the main things you're doing in like just going from your GPP to your strength block in the off season for an NFL guy? What's the main things that you're incorporating in that strength component, especially for a quarterback?
Yeah, so the biggest thing in the strength component is trying to focus on having movement. First things first is like being able to move in multi-vector, so 8-vector kind of movement planes and things of that nature. So whether you use use that as a prep or you use that as something as an accessory, you kind of want to focus on trying to get the quarterback to be able to like move in different vectors, so forward, lateral, backwards, side to side, things of that nature. So you can use either a Viper, you can use a dumbbell, you can just focus on like trying to get them in those type of
So it's important that all
different
those
positions.
movements are loaded.
Yeah, loaded. And it's not like 300 pounds or anything like that.
100%,
but we focus on, let me reel it back, but we focus on the meat and potato lifts,
Right.
of course, right? So that is a kind of like maybe a trap bar deadlift. And I usually focus on a trap bar deadlift from either a kind of like a unilateral or a kickstand stance.
Okay.
Just because if you look at the quarterback position, a lot of times the way that they're kind of like redistributing force and doing all those things are primarily unilateral. So I look at it that way. And then kind of like my accessory block is kind of like, whether that's upper body or lower body, it's focusing on them moving in different planes, focusing on them moving kind of like different shapes, angles, things of that nature.
And then for your speed and power, do you dose that does that evolve? Do you dose that with the strength, or are you going from strength to speed to power, or power to speed? Or are you just changing what you're doing for speed and power as you go along?
Absolutely. So with actual like the speed and the movement of everything like that, like that's still in the strength phase. Like, but I do that separately. So it's kind of like start off maybe about 10 yards, 20 yards, right? And you focus on doing that straight line linear, curve linear.
Is this part of GP?
It's right after GP.
No, this is right after. This
That's
is
what
right
I was
after the
asking.
GPP.
Ketchup, mustard.
I want to keep everybody connected.
Yeah, this is right after the GPP,
Okay.
honestly.
And so which phase, and we're in the SP, or are we going into, which position are we in right now? Is this the second GPP or the first GPP?
Technically second.
Yeah, okay. So there are different phases in this.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I just want to keep everyone track so we know where we are right now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And
Pay attention. Yeah, so I was just saying, how do you dose? So you say going from short dose range, like yardage, curve linear for your speed and power, and then you go, so your power, you'll be framing differently in your sessions, right?
Absolutely.
You
That was
asking
my
about
question.
the volume, the doses? What were we
Yeah.
asking?
So
Okay.
I asked him first, did he integrate it during strength? He said
Yep.
yes,
Okay.
obviously. But he said that just so y'all have a more of a interlook as I'm just asking questions here, everything progresses, right? So he's not leaving anything out of the strength block when it comes to speed and power, but you go short speed to medium distance to long speed, longer distance. The intensity changes as you go through these blocks.
Yep.
So it's always interesting because I don't have a lot of quarterbacks. He's turning into QB right here.
Nah, yeah.
So
the biggest thing is just kind of like they typically, unless they're like a real dual threat, like Justin is like a rare case, right? Like he's someone that you gotta you want to give him some of the things that are his kryptonite, essentially, like that he's not really good at, but you can't like keep him too far away from what he's really great at. And what he's really great at is being able to get out of the pocket and run. So he rushed for over 1,000 yards the year before. So I wanted to emphasize being able to like give him the speed that was necessary for him to be able to withstand that this season, even though he might not be asked to do that, but I always want to just prepare him for that. So overall, in terms of what the whole framework is, you have a 1 to 2 week GPP. During that GPP, the movement outside is kind of similar. It's a GPP, it's like an introduction to like what we're gonna do later on, and then the movement and the strength and the power and the speed all kind of like matches up with each other in terms of whether it's curve linear, whether it's Excel, whether it is Excel decel day, or whether it is a max V day.
Okay.
Makes sense.
I love that. And last question, in this time frame, how many weeks of this is the entire off season?
So the entire offseason, I want to say it was about 2.5 months.
2.5 months.
Short.
Yeah, it's super short.
Yeah,
it's really no more than like 7 or 8 weeks at max, pre-OTAs.
Yeah.
You can get everybody back after OTAs for NFL.
Okay.
And then the Pittsburgh Steelers thing happened, the trade happened, and then he had some camps he went to. And then he, you know, when guys get to a new team, they want to just be there early.
I think that's important to bring this up, because with these short amount of off seasons, and also depending if you're traded and all these other things, I think a lot of trainers think that we get an opportunity to have a 16-week program.
Bro,
hell no.
That's the biggest. I was waiting for that to happen because I get asked like so many times, like, how do you write a plan for an athlete? I'm like, if you have a professional athlete that you're training, if you get them on a week, 5 days, man, look, you're blessed.
Yes.
Yeah, facts.
Like you may train them Monday and Tuesday. On Wednesday, they may fly out.
They be gone.
It ain't shit you can do about it.
Yeah.
So I think that's important to note.
So programming is extremely tough when you're looking at it from that perspective. So you have to have the understanding of how to prioritize what's important for what they need, and then the consistency that you're going to see them.
Yeah.
Because you get somebody say, hey, I'm going to pay you for the month, and then to us, that's a nice check. But to them, it's like, man, I may pay you for the month, but I may see you 7 days out this month.
Which is cool. And that's why he made the point of, I got $10 where I want to spend it at, right, for my level of importance with this amount of time.
I think that's something at the professional, even collegiate level, depending, I think you got a lot more control. You got a lot more control in the college level, but the professional level, you're not going to get 16 weeks. And if you are, you're lucky, and it's either because they've been hurt, and they're
which is golfer, they play tennis, they run track, something like that, where you got them year round.
So it's very important to bring that out to light as well, because that was one of my eye openers a couple years ago, noticing. I was like, man, if I got a program and then it's like 1 week we in it, the next week
do you program ahead of time? Because I made the mistake before you go. I used to think that my programming was gold.
Yeah.
And I would write this shit out on Sunday, and then Monday I would get in there and they won't come. I'd be like, dang, the hell?
No,
then they come Tuesday, and I have them Tuesday and Wednesday, and so now I'm trying to make up for what I thought Monday was supposed to do.
Yeah.
So when it comes to writing programs, have you adjusted your writing style, your prep style?
But I've done it because I do it in frameworks. So it's not like specific. I'm not really writing like exact each exercise and such. I just know in this GP phase, whatever, it might be 4 weeks, I'm going to focus on 3 full body workouts that are going to be probably tempo-based loading or whatever, right? And I'm going to look at it that way. I might do in maybe off season, he's going to be off his feet. So we're going to do all feet conditioning, steady state conditioning, in this first 4 weeks of his phase. I might add in, this part of the 4 weeks, we're going to focus on concentric plyometrics.
Correct.
And then the next 4 weeks, I might add in some eccentric plyometrics, and then add in a different variation of conditioning in that next phase of whatever we are in. It could be a GP or a SP, depending on where we are in the season, and depending on his conditioning as well. So for me, with the framework, it gives me the ability, even if we miss a day or two or here and there, I got A, B, C.
Yeah.
And I'm going to start with A. If we miss,
you plug and play.
Right, I plug and play. And that's just basically how it works for me. And that's worked very well for me. Absolutely. And I know for one thing, at least I can see you at least 3 times a week, and 3 times within at least 10 days. That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
Because sometimes with travel and flight, we might miss or have to travel here and go here and miss it. We don't have the equipment here.
If you're with them.
Yeah, if I'm with them. And also, traveling is a huge issue because you may have you're talking about trap bars, and you may have this, and you may not even have that. You might have some dumbbells, and that's it. Right. So with my programming, it's very flexible. I have the ability to plug and play a lot, but I also understand where I am in each phase, and everything changes, right? Like if I'm in sport-specific phase, I know we're going to do a lot more strength, power, dynamic work. If I know I'm in the first or the second phase of this GP, we're going to start implementing more like slow-based, controlled strength work. Well, that's going to be in the first one, and the second one is going to be more strength-based, but really trying to lift a little bit heavier. So it just really depends on where he is.
And when you get him.
And when I get him, and I know how to program him. But of course, I'm going to do the assessments. We have to go through our assessments. We got to know what he's looking like this year. Physiologically, he's a different person. Mentally, a different person. I want to see where he is. And then we progress from there. I think all of us are going to have very unique stories because you're working with QBs. I'm working with an NBA player, basketball. Yeah. Mo, you do it all, bro. Honestly, track. We can just ask you. I know, what don't you do, bro?
He don't pick up calls. He don't respond to text message.
He doesn't have a fencer. Do you have a fencer?
I know a fencer.
A fencer account?
My guy that was I met my first fencer while I was at the Olympics. Okay. My guy that's with Nike, selection guy's name, best friends with Lewis Hamilton.
Another plug.
We're going to forget that one.
But nonetheless.
All right, so after GPP, what's next?
Right. So after GPP the next thing is the strength phase, right? So a lot of primary core strengthening and lower body strengthening, and we want to focus on being able to like best prepare him or best prepare his body to kind of handle rotation and to kind of rotate as well. So during this period, during this phase, we're going to focus on eccentric strength. We're going to focus on a lot of anti-lateral rotation, anti-lateral flexion, because what we want to focus on is this side, right? If he's throwing all the time, we want to focus on this side being able to be the stabilizer and be the rock, right? So we want to increase that. So there's a video that I did. It went viral on NFL. NFL posted it and everything like that. We did it with mainly sleds. Oh yeah, a little slight flex. Sorry, I've been around y'all too much.
Whoa, I don't say nothing about
shit. That nigga's really flex.
But
too competitive. Had a wrestling match with Mount Everest. Leaving this prey, I could chase off the predators. You can't run with me, little boy, you too delicate. Hold up!
Justin Fields, his eyes are on the end zone. He's in. Touchdown.
I like that with the sled and
right. So it's primarily that movement is primarily concentric, but you can consistently keep using it and use the ground as the inertia to be able to like provide that resistance. So that friction. That friction. So you get the kind of same residual effects that you would with the strengthening, but you're not gonna get super sore in the core area, which we need him to be able to throw and to be able to, practice.
Fire.
Right. Yeah. So doing that, and that kind of shores up that side of the anti. And then also that shores up that building of the base of and building of that general strength in the rotational aspects. So then there are other things where we want to focus on being able to go kind of like reverse everything. So if a throw this way, we want to focus on a lot of being able to stabilize the lats and pull downs and things of that nature. So a lot of anti and a lot of kind of eccentric work to kind of reverse engineer what is happening already. So we're starting from the ground and we're just moving right up. And then right after that, when we just kind of pass our strength phase and we go into a more power-based phase, this is where he can really kind of express that force. So we test certain things. We use the dynamometer. So what I like to do is the Vol dynamometer, I like to kind of contrast that. So I tell him to kind of press into this dynamometer as hard as he can, in a rotational pattern. And then after that, we just contrast that with med ball throws. And then we kind of time that. So now from that part, we just focus on the power aspect of that. And then once he gets towards more specific portion of his his training, whether that's more throws on the field. Now what I do is I kind of limit my count, or I find out what the throw count is, what the pitch count is from the skills coach, and then I kind of reverse engineer that. So if he did, let's just say maybe 60 throws, what I do is that right side, it's all going to be anti. It's all going to be anti-rotation. But the left side, we're going to get a good amount of rotation in because we want to kind of match that, and we want to kind of have some synergy within the core and within the body. And in terms of the full spectrum of it, that's basically like how it goes.
Okay. And do you? Big question is that's really amazing, by the way. And a lot of this feedback comes from the assessments that you decide on. Okay, these are the main things that I want to spend on these. Like I got $10. These are the main things that I want to focus on.
Yeah,
or is that from the assessment? Is that from collaborative communication between you and the athlete? Is that basically I answered it already.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So with that, so anytime I ask what the $10 you're gonna spend on, I just want to know kind of like what you think, and I kind of want to see how like self-aware you are. Yeah. But I'm not just gonna take that as at face value. I'm gonna just be like, okay, cool. Do you want to work on this? But the data and everything like that states that this is what we have to do. Your
mouth say one thing, but your body say another.
Right, exactly.
Right.
And also collaborative things as well with the staff that he worked with in Chicago. Okay. And then also from the skills coaches. Yeah. And that's another reason why like I'm able to kind of work with multiple sports and different athletes, because I like to try to learn as much as I can from the skills coaches. Yeah. That's the cheat code in my opinion.
It really is.
To being able to kind of understand the best way to kind of give your athlete what you need, especially if you didn't play that position or if you didn't play that sport at a high level.
And then for us, we can just reverse engineer and provide the tools what they need to be very successful on the court or on the field.
Yeah. Because I believe the skill coaches have the intention behind the work, and it's hard to translate like a deadlift into why this going to help you with power and do like injury prevention or whatever the case may be. So even if from a term of like just understanding the verbiage that's being used within the sessions, allow us to reverse engineer that knowledge and be like, okay, well, if he's talking about big toe and he's not able to get rotation, then we need to do X, Y, Z when we get into the gym. Or I need to say the same things to reiterate what the skills coach is saying, so this intention is clear of why we're doing this. And that adds value to who you are as a coach as well.
That's why anatomy is huge, because like to Chris's point, the skill coach might say, man, you're not getting your hips through enough. Yeah. Okay, what's a prime mover of limited hip extension? Yeah. You know, like you see those things and then you look at it like, shit, like, okay, he's got to focus on this. He's got to focus on that in order for what the coach wants him to do to like come to light. Yeah. And that's kind of like the reason why you have these conversations and you speak with these coaches, because they're telling you the answer, but you just gotta kind of like, you just gotta read through the code.
Man, I learned so much and enjoyed this conversation with you. Man, this is why I call you the mad scientist. I really appreciate the details behind that. Chris, Offseason, man. I seen you out here working. Actually, you were where were you recently?
Clearly, I'm unemployed.
You are unemployed.
To Morgan Wells. Yeah. You know, I don't have a job. I just,
he is unemployed.
Gallivant around the world.
Nice you text us the most, but you know.
I do text you. I'm a texter.
Yeah, you are.
Like, dang, can I not text y'all?
Yeah.
Text while you want.
But you be asking for like quick responses.
I do. I want it right there.
People got jobs, Chris.
Obviously, be clocked in.
Really got jobs, which makes us think. Well, not us. I don't want it.
Yeah, please don't put yourself.
Makes Mo think that you ain't got no job.
Well, I do have a job.
Well, tell us about your job.
You know, my job is a very
specifically
fun job.
Your job in the off-season.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Tap in real quick.
So a lot of my job in the off-season comes from also is a advisory type job. Like trainers hit me up all the time about what they should do with their clients. And I've understood that the business of what I branded myself as, availability, I can give knowledge and understanding of how to train your athletes without me physically being there. Framework, essentially what you want to do is assess the body. That's the number one thing, as you talked about, is assess the body, and I bring them to the star. Yeah. They do a full body assessment, give me all the details and the understanding of readings, x-rays, whatever the case may be. And
coaches, very important.
Bring them to the star.
Okay, we can plug that in.
Find your village.
assessment. That's very important.
Don't guess.
It dictates everything you do from there. It gives you your compass. Keep going.
So I've taken a lot of my understanding of why I don't need to do certain things in the off season, and I limit it, because once you get full time with a guy in season, it totally shifts your perspective on what the off season should look like.
Yeah.
So once, I can look at a trainer and be like, all right, well, they clearly don't train nobody in season, because why is he jumping over? Like, he doesn't need that much stimulus from plyometrics if he's getting it already through the season. This is his time to recover.
Yeah.
And essentially, so the framework, always start with preparing the body and assessing it.
Okay.
So what's your first go-to post-assessment? Like, we could just leave your framework there. Post-assessment, you figure out your problems, you pinpointed it. Where do you go from there?
What's the problem?
I was just going to say.
That's going to say you guy has a knee problem and a shoulder problem.
God damn.
That'd be more specific about that.
What kind of knee problems you got?
He's got a chronic a chronic patella tendinopathy.
Okay. Oh, that's good. This is a loading thing.
So definitely loaded, but also it's a nutrition thing. So you want to decrease the inflammation within the body. You want to find out.
No fried foods, guys.
No fried foods. You want to figure out what is the thing that's keeping the inflammation chronic.
Okay.
And then once you can pinpoint what that may be or what that could be a lifestyle habit, that could be a nutritional habit, or that could be a loading pattern that's off.
Yeah.
So you want to kind of go in there and correct those things, but you can't fix those things until you assess those things. Yeah. So first, figuring out what are you guys eating. Okay. What is your lifestyle? Do you party? Do you drink? Do you doing a lot of extracurricular activity? What's your skill session like when you get on the court? Are you doing a lot of jumping? Are you doing a lot of XYZ that's keeping you from decreasing the information you need, and then how you recover?
Okay.
So my job comes in after I figure out all this information.
Yeah. Okay.
And then from that, general loading.
Okay.
Like just isometric loading is the number one thing that you're going to do to relieve tendinopathy.
Yep.
Paired with nutrition.
Are we doing how many sets, how many seconds? Is it reps? Is it 5 sets of 45? That's Jill Cook, I believe, her.
I don't do 45, I do 30.
Okay, you do 30?
I'm a 20 to 30 guy.
You're 20 to 30?
I like to do longer duration and shorter duration.
Okay, so is there a different style of isometrics that you're doing? Is it more intensive,
whatever
extensive?
I have available to me.
Okay.
Because I don't always get the best scenario.
Okay.
So if I'm in a weight room that has everything I need, I may do a knee extension because that isolates the issue. Okay. And I can localize it to where we're not getting a global fatigue, we're just getting a local fatigue within that quad or that patella tendon.
Okay, can we explain the difference between global and local? We get it.
Global
I get it.
is
the
world cred.
Okay.
Local is local.
More specific, I guess.
So global is going to be the whole leg.
Global is the whole body.
That was the whole body.
Local is the
going to be
point.
your quad.
Correct.
The
actual issue.
We're trying to educate throughout this process.
No, absolutely. I mean, I'm glad you said that. But definitely that is the focal point of understanding how to minimize global stress. Because a lot of times when athletes get stressed within their sessions, they get tired and start to half-ass the rest of the reps because they're tired. Mm-hmm. But if you can localize that session or that injury, that minimizes their fatigue.
That's a great point.
Isometrics is going to be the main calling point if anyone has tendinopathy.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's very important. And that's also a tad bit that you can add into there because...
I think Keith Barr wrote an article about it.
Okay.
And he talked about the specific loading patterns and how
Is there any supplements, vitamin C maybe?
And collagen.
Collagen.
You take vitamin C and collagen out prior to doing the isometric loading.
Okay.
And that allows to fill the tendon. Because tendinopathy is essentially like a small hole within the tendon that fills up with inflammation when you do a movement.
Yep.
So when that movement occurs...
Is it degenerative? Can it be reversed?
It can be. It can be.
Okay, I think that's what I'm leading to it because
so
I want us all to...
can be reversed if you do the loading correctly.
Because there are a lot of people who suffer from it, and it's an overuse injury.
Right.
Correct.
Right? It's very simple. When anything there's tendinopathy, it just means that you're doing too much.
Calm down, Craig.
Sit down. You're doing too much.
But how do you tell, so one of the issues or challenges that I didn't necessarily struggle with, but it was unique, was I often tell my clients that when they have a tendinopathy injury within season, I'm like, bro, it's like trying to change a tire in a car's movement.
Yeah.
It's incredibly challenging. That's good. I can't do it.
Yeah.
So I have to decrease the information in your body. So exercising is going to be important.
But it's more.
But the stress that they're going to go through, the practice,
level.
the traveling. So we have to do things from a accessory type level to fix those issues.
Yeah.
Right.
And that is, to me, the most important factor versus just exercise.
Mm-hmm. I think that's. I think it's very important. I mean, again, inflammation is very key into this. I wish we had. We're gonna try to elaborate more on this.
Got plenty of shows.
But I want to say too, if you're a hooper and you're playing basketball, you're gonna have some type of knee pain.
Yeah.
Like if you're explosive or you fast, you're gonna deal with some type
natural.
of pain. Like it's like 99% gonna happen.
Yeah.
Honestly, if you have a great warm up, if you do some isometrics in your warm ups,
consistency,
and
warm up,
really got to guys, because I will tell you this: I'm an avid hooper. I love basketball. I had a little bit of tendinopathy probably during COVID. I started way too much running.
Yeah, we all did.
And that was
you didn't
just
have your
crazy.
Skechers on.
I didn't have my Skechers. And
all
so
it was.
over the time, I realized that, okay, I'm starting to get some nicks, and it came from just overuse of just doing stuff that I wasn't doing, and I was probably like 240 pounds or more.
Damn,
because
boy,
I
I'm
was
back
It's
just,
really a spike in movement. Once you have a
it
spike
my
in
load,
activity.
I jumped my load probably by 300%.
Yeah, that's
exactly.
not going to
Because I was not a runner at all. And I just
Yeah.
started doing that, and that was way too much, way too soon. And it really just, it's a balance of load, rest, also inflammation, but a lot more about just being very in tune with your body. And go ahead.
I think LeBron James said if you wait to do prehab after you get hurt, you waited too late.
Yeah.
Too long.
And we can, Mo, we didn't get to you about your framework.
Man,
But
he did.
I know, Mo,
he did
we
a lot.
talk, listen.
Damn, Chatty Patty.
Mo talk, we ask a lot of questions, Mo, because Mo do a lot of cool things.
do a
you know
lot
what
of
I'm saying?
stuff.
And I'm
Do a lot of
saying that
stuff.
Curtis do a lot of cool things, but Curtis be home a lot more, like you weren't in Paris. And
No,
we
I
wanted
was
to
not.
know about Paris, and I thought Paris was
not.
dope. And,
I was on Paris Street.
Chris, you be on the road,
I do. I don't know where y'all think
All
I have
the
a
time.
job.
but sometimes we don't know if you on the road. Because
rolling.
You want me to post it? I'm on the road. Hey,
It
look.
would be nice to know that, you working.
Matter of
So
fact,
then
share your
we-
location with us so we
We
can
would
know.
assume that you got
I'll
a
share my
job.
location.
But we know you got a
Thank
job because you just get the new.
Listen.
What
You
was
did
that?
just get the new
Cybertruck.
That-
Yeah.
Ooh, you in that cyber thing.
Is it tenant yet?
That's my bestie in a Tessie. Hey, man.
Come tenant.
Guys, that is... I hate to cut this one short because I thought this
Did we cut it
episode
short?
is really good. No, we're cutting it short because we're running on time and we're running on battery, and it's very important to be very transparent with you guys. But it's been a great episode of us talking about programming. We talked about off-season programming for QBs, Justin, to be exact.
We need to talk
Justin
about what you
Fields.
charge in the off season.
We don't need to tell people about money.
Why not?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, we can.
Why don't we
Part
need
two.
to tell people about money?
Part
Part
two.
two.
Part 2 will tell you about how much it is.
The
But
business and
everything,
economics
it depends
of
on
off-season
you.
training. And I'll
It's-
give you my framework.
How much-
I might be this, and that don't mean that you this, or you might be this, don't mean
Yeah,
that
there's
I'm
different levels
that.
of it.
Why don't
This-
why don't
My
we
day
set
rate
the
used to be
foundation
$500.
Yeah.
for what it should be?
Y'all, if I was,
Well, yeah, exactly. It set the foundation of what it should be.
well, it depends on where you are in your life.
Depends on who you're working with as well.
It also depends on a lot of different factors.
Yeah.
The framework is.
I know some people that train for $1,000 a month.
Huh?
Yeah.
To do what?
For athletes to train.
A month.
Who?
That's crazy.
Now this.
See, it really depends on who you are, guys. If you would love to know how to charge more about off-season programming, if you would love to know more about in-season programming as well, please leave us a message, DM us. We'll definitely come back to this topic. We want to talk more about this because I think it's a really fun topic to really just pick each other's brain. I love that Mo was picking your brain. I learned some things in this process. I love picking your brain. I learned a lot of things in your process as well.
Thing too.
So if you have questions, make sure that you like, subscribe, send us
Comment,
a DM. We would
DM,
love to
email.
be able to respond to you. That is our episode of programming. I'm happy that we got into programming. It was really.
Look, we got to
Yeah,
get to
of
a
course.
little bit of it.
Yeah.
Is there
so
any
much
last remarks that you guys want to leave
Oh, man,
with?
stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Got more for
Simple
you.
as that, gang.
I can't be stopped. I won't be shook. Give all I got.
You don't take your shit off Tuesday?
Okay, I don't have TSA. I'm sorry.
Oh, appreciate it.
You ain't got pre-check all every time you
Nah,
travel?
you know what I do? I use Clear.
He fly private.
Bro, there's
Even
no
on
way
Clear, you
you
have to take
don't
shoes
have
off.
pre-check.
Whoever thought I would quit is been getting it wrong because I'm too getting started.
I'm just talking about the
What
framework.
have you had notes for? Where's your iPad?
I have an iPad. I gave it back to you. Y'all niggas sitting there with laptops in your hand. So this subject.
Outside the party. Got my eyes on the target. Look, I'm more than it seems.
It's like you listen to Justin Bieber.
Okay.
But you like,
Okay.
Like Lil Baby.
Yeah. And like maybe like a Big Sean on the track or something like that.
Definitely Big Sean.
Cause look what we did. Now look where we at. Untrained. 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 Untrained.